traveling every day or so on and so forth, and talk to people about what is needed and how to share that leadership around, how to encourage the community to do the work of faith, the work of caring for each other.
What Miriam refers to as Crip time, which is the extra time demands put on a person who has disabilities, gives Etienne a little bit of discomfort. And to be sure, I, as an able-bodied person, probably shouldn't be using the term. It's a reclaimed term among people with disabilities, and I should be mindful of my use of it. After all, it gives Etienne a little bit of discomfort too.
I was not calling it that because I think I would have coined another term for it, but it just means that the author is really comfortable with a label like that. But the concept was brought in a new way, and because Miriam, you gave me a reference, well, I could Google her and start reading stuff about her. So see, that was enough. You get someone. You don't blame someone for not doing something. You get them curious about something. I live with an hyperactive. So I always knew we were on different time zones. But now, because of everything that happened and because what I read from you, Miriam, I realized that we're not just one time zone apart, we're 2 time zones apart. Yikes. And I go what am I going to do with that? I don't know how to deal with it, but it's helpful to
name it.
Name it! Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
They also introduced me to the term super crip, which is what happens when we are inelastic in our demands of people. And for people with disabilities, sometimes this means performing extra hard just to live up to some standard that society has put on people.
I would say that 2 years ago, I was in a different time zone, or maybe not. I was still in Crip time, let's call it that way for now, and we're still running like hell to catch up with everyone and being proud of it.
Yeah, so you were what people have called as being a super crip.
Oh yeah, I've called myself a super crip for a long time.
So I'm trying to meet the same expectations of the normal person, and being praised for that. And most of us enjoy, to some degree, being seen as that sometimes, but in the end, it's not practical nor helpful to anyone.
In some ways, this pause of COVID-19 is helping people to recognize the unreasonable expectations that society puts on people, especially in terms of how we spend our time. So for my brother, for example, he was sacrificing time with his daughter, and now he's getting a new sense of appreciation for that. And Miriam and Etienne have known that expectations have been unrealistic for quite some time. So what are we to do? What is a solution? How do we reimagine time? Miriam believes that the church has been teaching this for a long, long time, since its inception, really.
And I think this is not entirely foreign to church. This language, this sense of being in a different time is, in fact, liturgical time. It's being in God's time. It's the a call to justice, a call to be in which relationship. Those things happen over time and in time. So there there's individuals and cultures in the church that don't get this, maybe. But I think the church as a wide body has this within them to live in a different sense of time.
We'll return to my conversation with Miriam and Etienne in subsequent episodes, but I want to turn now to my conversation with Andrea Brennan, the minister from Fernie, minister of both the United Church there and the Anglican Church, as they now have a shared ministry. I'm especially interested in like as we rebuild society, how we review our time and if any of that changes. But tell me what intrigues you about the notion of time these days.
Well, the days seem to be long, and yet the weeks are going very quickly. The first probably 2 weeks trying to figure out, are we going to shutter the churches? What's that going to look like? How do we reach out to our most vulnerable? It felt like I was running as fast as I could and staying in exactly the same place. I read an article the other day that we're all in a heightened state of awareness, that we're all, the fight or flight has been triggered. And so now we're all working at a reduced capacity. We shouldn't expect to be as productive as we were before. And yet we try to be as productive as we were before.
And maybe more so with the additional demands on us.
Mm-hmm.
So initially it was quite disorienting and stressful, but you said you found a bit of a new rhythm at this point.
I've found a new rhythm now that I've got a couple of weeks of worship done. I now have templates, and those templates make me very happy.
Do you find that the weekly ritual of worship and the other things that you have as part of your life help to ground your notion of time? Does it help to ground you to have that weekly rhythm at least?
Absolutely. I always have counted my days, marked my weeks through worship. So Sunday and Wednesday. There's still some days I don't know what day it is, but I can figure it out much more quickly knowing that, okay, worship is Sunday. So this and this, taking Sabbath Friday, Saturday, and being strict about that, that's helped as well to balance the week. But yeah, having that anchor of worship on Sunday, I can more or less always figure out what day it is.
So when we think about rebuilding society after this COVID-19 pause, and I've been using a metaphor of a wall that has been disassembled and there's bricks and mortar lying all around, and we're going to have to choose which bricks to put back in and which order and which bricks to omit. And you mentioned self-care, how you're giving that a bit more attention than you had before. Are there other bricks, either in your own life or thinking about all of society, that you think we would be replacing differently or omitting or adding given this time of reflection?
One of the things that I've always spoken to the congregation about is relationship, that we can only be who we are when we are in relationship with the divine, when we are in relationship with each other. If I have a relationship with you, Greg, then what's important to you becomes important to me. And we might disagree about something, but because you and I have a relationship, I'm going to choose my words much more carefully. And I expect that there's now a heightened awareness of kindness, of patience, and I know that folks are getting frustrated. They're at home with 4 kids that want to go out inside and play, and they can't take them out to the playground because we can't gather at the playgrounds. But people that I've spoken to in passing, like I've met more of my neighbors in the apartment building where I live since COVID-19 started than I have in the 2 years that I've lived here. And part of that is because when the sun is nice, we go out. It's almost like somebody rings an invisible bell and we all go outside and stare at the sun, because Fernie doesn't get a lot of sun. So we stand at different corners of oh, hi, what apartment number are you? Oh, hi, how are you doing? It's been strange and good. but figuring out creative ways to be in relationship, to be in community, going and having a conversation with parishioners who live at Rocky Mountain Village, a seniors home, and holding up a placard outside saying, "Good morning, we love you," because the person that we're talking to is quite deaf and you can't hear them on the phone, and they can't hear you talking through the window, but at least you're there saying, we're still here. I think that's going to continue when we are able to gather face to face. I think there will be a heightened awareness of, it's not just about me, it's about being in relationship with everyone that I encounter.
No doubt this COVID-19 imposed pause is forcing all of us to reconsider our time. Maybe it's how you're spending your time during this outbreak. Maybe you've got a new perspective. Maybe you've got some new opportunities. Like Mark, you're spending more time with your family and discovering the joys and challenges of full-time parenting all day, every day. Maybe you've come to reconsider the demands you had put on yourself before, or the demands that you had allowed society to put on you, or that you were perpetuating. Or maybe you've just had a new perspective of how to anchor your time, and maybe you are considering how you're going to use your time differently once the COVID-19 pause is done, whenever that is. And friends, I hope it's soon. I hope we are safe again soon. But for now, we reconsider, we cherish our time. We know that we are a resilient species, and we have this opportunity now to be restored ourselves. There is always the time to find ourselves being restored in relationship, being restored to God, restored to ourselves. And may we cherish that which brings us joy and delight. And may we keep that which brings joy and delight once this pause is over. Well, that's some of what we think. What do you think? What are your reflections? What are your responses? Would you consider emailing us at R&R, that's R&R for Resilience and Restoration, so R&R at castlegarunited.ca, that's C-A-S-T-L-E united.ca. My name is Greg, and I'm hoping you feel restored, hoping you are assured of our collective resilience. Until next time, take care and be safe.